For months, maybe even years, that scratch has been nagging at you. Every time you pass it, you recall the estimate someone gave you. $300, perhaps $500. Or maybe they said the entire floor needs sanding, which starts at $1, $500, and quickly rises. And yet, there it sits. That scratch, a constant reminder of something broken that you haven't fixed. But what if I told you that fixing it costs just $1? Not a discount professional service, nor a cheap knockoff from the store. Just a single dollar. One ingredient, permanent. It's been sitting in grocery stores all this time. The hardwood refinishing industry in America is a $3, $5 billion per year juggernaut, and almost none of that would even exist if one simple thing were still common knowledge. Think about that number. $5 billion. This isn't just contractors. It includes retail products, franchises, equipment rentals, an entire business ecosystem built on one assumption, that fixing a scratched floor is a job for professionals, not homeowners, that you, as a homeowner, can't handle it. This is what frustrates me. It's not that they created a complicated process. It's that they took something simple and buried it under a mountain of complexity, branding, and jargon, until the average person no longer believed they could fix it. The refinishing industry didn't succeed by offering a better solution. It succeeded by ensuring the simpler solution was never discussed again. The economic logic is clear and ruthless. If a floor can be restored permanently for just $1 in 20 minutes, no one would call a professional. No one would buy a $30 scratch kit from the hardware store, rent equipment, or schedule a weekend to move furniture for a sanding job. The entire dependency chain vanishes. And businesses don't want to build models around solutions that make them irrelevant. So the solution quietly faded from memory, not due to failure, but because it worked too well. Furniture makers in the early 20th century knew something that has since been lost. This was common knowledge passed down from generation to generation, before synthetic varnishes and polyurethane took over. And that knowledge was lost because it was so effective. The furniture makers of the 1920s and 1930s had a finishing practice so powerful that it was passed down like a trade secret. It wasn't written in manuals. It was shared by word of mouth, shop to shop. Before synthetic varnishes, before polyurethane, even before the petrochemical finishing industry existed, these craftsmen worked with wood the way wood naturally behaves. They understood something modern floor products deliberately ignore. Wood isn't inert. It's not just a static surface waiting to be coated. Wood is alive. It breathes, expands, contracts. And here's the critical part. Wood responds. When a craftsman in 1932 finished a table, he wasn't sealing it off from the world. He was conditioning it. The oils he used didn't sit on top of the wood. They penetrated the grain, becoming part of the wood structure. The wood and the finish were one. That's why furniture from that era still looks incredible. Not because it was made better, although much of it was, but because the philosophy of finishing was fundamentally different. It worked with the wood, not over it. Then came the shift in the 1950s and 1960s as petrochemical products flooded the market. Polyurethane, with its consistency and durability, became the new standard. It was easy to apply at scale, but there was one problem. It didn't penetrate the wood. Polyurethane sits on top of the wood like a plastic shell, creating a barrier. And barriers, no matter how tough, eventually crack, chip, and scratch. When this happens, it's no longer about the wood being damaged. It's the coating that's failed. The wood, sealed off from everything that would let it heal, can't restore itself. The old method didn't cause this issue because it never created that barrier. The wood and the finish were one, so there was no shell to crack. And here's where it all comes together. A scratch in hardwood isn't removed by simply filling the gap. It's about understanding what the wood is actually doing. When wood gets scratched, several things happen at once. The surface fibers compress, the grain gets disrupted, and sometimes material is even removed. But the primary issue, the reason a scratch looks white or light, isn't missing wood. It's light refraction. The disrupted fibers reflect light differently from the surrounding surface, creating a visual contrast that your eye interprets as damage. The scratch may look like a cut, but what you're actually seeing is a microscopic change in surface texture. This is critical because it changes the solution. If the problem were a physical gap, you'd need filler. But the problem is surface disruption and light refraction. The solution, then, isn't about filling, it's about realigning. You need to relax the compressed fibers back into their original position and get the surface to reflect light the same way as the surrounding wood. Modern scratch kits at the hardware store mostly work by filling. They push material into the scratch to level the surface. Some are even tinted to match the wood color, and they may work for a while. The problem is, filler is just filler. It doesn't bond with the wood grain. It doesn't flex when the wood expands in the summer or contracts in the winter. Over time, sometimes weeks or months, the filler separates. The scratch comes back, and you buy another kit. But this isn't an accident. It's exactly how the product is designed to work. Natural oils behave completely differently. When penetrating oil enters a scratch, it doesn't sit on top. It moves through the tiny channels of the wood, much like water moves through a sponge. As it travels, it lubricates the compressed fibers, allowing them to relax and return to their natural orientation. The surface realigns at the cellular level, and because the oil penetrated rather than coated, it moves with the wood as it expands and contracts. The repair doesn't separate, it becomes part of the wood. The light refraction changes, the surface realigns, and the scratch disappears, not because something was put over it, but because the wood itself was given what it needed to restore itself. Now, here's the simple, affordable solution. The oil is raw linseed oil, also known as flaxseed oil. It's the same product you can buy at any grocery store in the cooking section for between $0, $75, and $1. $50. The key is that it's raw, not boiled linseed oil, which has chemical dryers added. This is the oil that the old craftsmen used, and it's what works the way I've described. To fix your scratched floor, clean the area first. You don't need to strip it, just clear off dust and any buildup that might block the oil. Use a damp cloth, let it dry, then take a small cloth. An old cotton t-shirt works perfectly, and apply a few drops of raw linseed oil. Work it into the scratch, following the wood grain. You'll feel a slight warmth as the oil makes contact. Apply light pressure and work with the grain for about 2 minutes per scratch, then walk away and let the oil penetrate for 20 to 30 minutes. You might notice the scratch darkening slightly as the oil travels into the fibers. That's the process at work. After the oil has had time to penetrate, come back with a clean, dry cloth and buff the area, removing any excess residue. Wait 24 hours before walking on it normally or placing heavy objects on it. For deeper scratches, apply a second treatment after 24 hours. For floors with a polyurethane coating in good condition, linseed oil will have limited effect because the coating prevents it from reaching the wood. In this case, lightly scuff the surface of the scratch with fine steel wool, 220 grit or finer, just enough to break the coating in the affected area. Then apply the oil as usual. The professional alternative for a moderately scratched floor starts at $300. The store-bought scratch kits cost between $15 and $40 and require reapplication. Meanwhile, linseed oil costs just $1 and one bottle can treat between 40 and 100 scratches. It's been sitting in grocery stores all this time, completely available, completely affordable, waiting for someone to remember what it's actually capable of. You now know more about how wood restores itself than most people who've paid for professional refinishing. Because those refinishers didn't tell you this, and the product companies certainly weren't going to. The information isn't secret, it's just not in anyone's financial interest to make it loud. Go get the oil. Test it on that one scratch that's been bothering you the longest. Give it 24 hours. You'll see immediately why this was once common knowledge, before the industry found a way to replace it with something more expensive. And if you've used linseed oil before and already knew this, drop a comment. Turns out the people who already know are rarely surprised by how long everyone else has been paying for what they figured out on their own. Now, let's dive a bit deeper into the magic of raw linseed oil and how it works. When applied to wood, this oil doesn't just sit there waiting to dry. It actively penetrates the wood, moving into the grain and interacting with the wood fibers at a cellular level. As it moves, it works with the natural properties of the wood. The beauty of this method is that it allows the wood to breathe, expand, and contract naturally, just as it did when the craftsmen from the 1920s and 1930s first perfected their techniques. Unlike polyurethane, which forms a hard shell on top of the wood, raw linseed oil allows the wood to retain its flexibility. This is why the repairs using linseed oil don't fail over time. The oil becomes part of the wood, not just something that sits on top, waiting to crack and peel off. It moves with the wood, expanding and contracting with it, ensuring that the scratch remains invisible, and the surface is as flawless as it was before. This is the main reason why the old methods work so well. The craftsmen of the past didn't think of wood as something to be coated. They saw it as an organic material that needed to be nurtured and treated with care. They understood that the finish had to be in harmony with the wood, and raw linseed oil was the tool that made this possible. It wasn't just about making the wood look good. It was about making the wood feel right, keeping it in balance with its natural environment. Fast forward to the present, and you'll find that most of us have forgotten these age-old techniques. The modern approach to refinishing has become all about quick fixes and temporary solutions. The industry built itself on products that provide a surface-level fix, but these fixes often fail, leaving homeowners stuck in a cycle of constant repair. And here's the kicker. When you use linseed oil, you're doing more than just fixing the scratch. You're restoring the wood's natural beauty. The oil soaks into the fibers, reconditioning the wood, not just covering up imperfections. You're working with the wood, not against it. Over time, the wood absorbs the oil and becomes stronger, more resilient, and more beautiful. This simple, low-cost solution is something the professional refinishing industry doesn't want you to know about. If people started using raw linseed oil, the whole industry could collapse. Why would anyone pay hundreds of dollars for a refinishing service when a single bottle of oil could solve the problem? Why would anyone buy those expensive scratch kits when they could achieve the same result with $1's worth of linseed oil? The industry knows that. They know that if the average homeowner learns about this simple solution, they won't need to hire professionals. So they bury the knowledge, replace it with complicated marketing, and push their expensive products. But here's the thing. You don't need them. All you need is raw linseed oil, and you can restore your floor to its original beauty. Imagine that, restoring your hardwood floors for just $1. The solution has been right in front of us all along. You don't need to buy fancy kits or hire a professional. You just need to take action, and with a little bit of patience and care, you can do it yourself. The best part? It's not just for scratches. Linseed oil is perfect for keeping your wood furniture and floors looking new for years. It's a long-term solution, not a temporary fix. It's the kind of knowledge that people have known for generations, but has been forgotten in the face of slick marketing and modern convenience. But now, you know the truth. You don't need to spend a fortune on floor refinishing. You don't need to be dependent on the professional refinishing industry. You can fix your scratched floor for $1 with a simple, natural oil that's been used for centuries. You don't need to be a craftsman to restore your floor. Anyone can do it. It's time to stop overpaying for fixes that don't last. Go get the raw linseed oil, apply it to your scratches, and watch the magic happen. And if you have any doubts, try it on one of your scratches and give it 24 hours. You'll be amazed at how effective and simple the solution is. Don't let the industry fool you into thinking you need to spend hundreds of dollars. This knowledge is yours to use. The best part is that it's so affordable, accessible, and permanent. Raw linseed oil can be found in any grocery store, right next to the vegetable oil. It's been there all along, just waiting for you to remember its power. Now that you know, you can take control of your wood floors again. Now that you know the secret behind restoring scratches in your wood floors, let's talk about the bigger picture, the system that's built around keeping this knowledge hidden. The truth is, the professional refinishing industry isn't just about fixing floors. It's a billion-dollar business built on the idea that you need them. They want you to believe that you can't handle floor repairs on your own, that without their help, your floors are doomed to stay scratched, scuffed, or worse. But here's the reality. Most of what they do is built on a simple process that could be done by anyone. By making something simple appear complicated, they've convinced homeowners to spend thousands of dollars on a service that isn't necessary. It's not that these services don't offer value, but rather that the value they offer is based on the premise that you have no other option. Think about it. If everyone knew that raw linseed oil could restore a scratched floor, the entire refinishing business would crumble. That's why the industry has worked so hard to keep this knowledge out of the spotlight. The more complicated they make the process, the more they can charge. It's not about making your floor look better, it's about creating a problem that only they can solve. And it's not just floor refinishing. This mentality is everywhere in the home improvement industry. From expensive repair kits to professional services, they all thrive on one thing, creating the illusion that you can't do it yourself. They don't want you to realize that most repairs can be done with simple, low-cost materials. They don't want you to know that with a little knowledge and effort, you can handle these things on your own. The same thing happens with other household repairs. You might be told you need a professional for your plumbing, your electrical work, or your roof. But in many cases, the solutions are much simpler than they appear. When you understand the fundamentals, you realize that these problems aren't as complex as they seem. The linseed oil solution is a prime example. It's a simple fix for an issue that's been made to seem far more complicated than it needs to be. Once you understand how it works, you'll start to see how much other home improvement advice has been crafted to benefit the professionals rather than the homeowners. The industry thrives on your dependency, and as long as you believe you need their expensive services, they'll continue to profit. But now that you know the truth, you can make your own decisions. You can choose to take control of your home maintenance, starting with that pesky scratch on the floor. Armed with raw linseed oil and the knowledge of how wood really works, you don't need to pay for expensive fixes anymore. You've got the power to restore your wood floors yourself, and that's just the beginning. The same principle applies to other areas of home care. Why pay for something you can do yourself? Why buy expensive kits when you can use simple, natural products to achieve the same results? The more you learn about these hidden, low-cost solutions, the more you'll realize how much money you've been wasting. But this knowledge isn't just about saving money. It's about empowerment. It's about taking back control of your space and no longer relying on an industry that's built on convincing you that you can't do it yourself. You can, and you should. So go ahead, test it out. Use the raw linseed oil. See how well it works on that scratch you've been staring at for months. It's time to reclaim your home and stop paying for services that aren't necessary. The solution has been right in front of you the whole time. And as you do this, keep in mind that this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are countless other areas in your home where simple, natural solutions can replace expensive, complex ones. The more you explore, the more you'll discover how much the professional industries are profiting off of your ignorance. Don't let them keep you in the dark any longer. Get the oil, fix your scratch, and start seeing your home in a new light. There's no need to be dependent on expensive repairs when the solution is right in front of you. The raw linseed oil is just the start. Now that you know how to restore your floor and take care of your wood, think about the other simple, effective solutions that are out there, waiting to be rediscovered. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on things you can do yourself. Take charge and start fixing things the old-fashioned way, simple, affordable, and effective. And if you've already used linseed oil or have other DIY solutions to share, drop a comment and let us know how it worked for you. We're all in this together, learning how to take care of our homes without relying on the professionals who want to keep us in the dark. It's time to stop being a customer and start being the expert. The information is out there, waiting for you to reclaim it. By now, you've realized the big secret behind wood restoration. It's not complicated, it's not expensive, it's just raw linseed oil, a product that's been available to you all along. This simple, powerful solution can fix scratches, restore the beauty of your hardwood floors, and save you hundreds of dollars in professional repairs. But the most significant takeaway here isn't just the oil itself. It's the realization that the industry has built an entire business around hiding simple, effective solutions from you. What's truly frustrating is how often this pattern repeats across other home repairs. Every time we're told that something is too difficult or too specialized to handle ourselves, we're being sold a solution that we don't actually need. Whether it's the idea that your car needs to be serviced by a mechanic for simple maintenance, or that your home's plumbing requires a specialist, the truth is often simpler. In many cases, with the right knowledge and tools, these tasks are well within your capability to manage on your own. This idea of simplicity hidden behind layers of complexity is a systemic issue. It's how industries thrive, by convincing people that only the professionals can handle certain tasks. But here's the truth. It's not that you can't do it. It's that they don't want you to realize that you can. Once you unlock that secret, the power is yours. And once you've discovered this about your floors, you might start questioning other areas of your home. What else have you been told you couldn't do yourself? What else has been hidden behind unnecessary complexity? Every time you fix something yourself, whether it's a scratch in the floor or a leak in the sink, you're taking back control from industries designed to profit off your lack of knowledge. It's not just about saving money, though that's a major bonus. It's about reclaiming your confidence. The more you tackle these simple, affordable fixes, the more you'll see that you don't need to rely on overpriced professionals. The solution to most problems is often much simpler than the industry would have you believe. Now think about the bigger picture. If we all started using these natural, simple solutions, what would happen to the industries that profit off our dependence? They would either have to adapt or crumble. And maybe that's the way it should be. Maybe it's time we return to the basics, to the things that have been lost in the age of consumerism and mass marketing. We can take our homes and our power back into our own hands. So, the next time you see a scratch on your floor, don't call the professionals. Don't reach for a pricey kit that will only fill the gap temporarily. Instead, go to your local grocery store, pick up some raw linseed oil and apply it yourself. You'll be amazed at how much better the wood looks and feels, and you'll know you did it yourself. No gimmicks, no expensive products, just a solution that works. And remember, this isn't just a one-time fix. This is a new mindset, a new way of thinking about home maintenance. It's about recognizing that the solutions to your problems are often right in front of you, waiting to be rediscovered. It's about finding the wisdom in the simplicity of old-school methods. And this is just one example, but there are countless others waiting for you to explore. So go ahead, take control, fix that scratch, try out the linseed oil. You'll be amazed at how simple and effective it is. And who knows, you might just find yourself tackling other home repairs, saving even more money, and feeling more empowered with each fix. The truth is, you've got everything you need to take care of your home. You just have to trust yourself to use it. The linseed oil isn't just about fixing your floor, it's about fixing your approach to home care. Don't let the industry continue to convince you that you need them. The power has always been in your hands.